Okay, so here I have a picture, and you can see up on the top of my video, this is a fair use nonprofit educational news video. All my videos on this channel are nonprofit for educational news. Please be advised. Now, this picture here, there's a jet that turns off behind a cloud. This is nothing new. I don't see it every day, but I have seen it quite a few times over the past 5 years or so that I've been doing the videos on the geoengineering weather modification programs here in Northern California. And so this video has a recording of the Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie and J. Marvin Herndon. Now, J. Marvin Herndon is a very notable scientist, and I'll tell you a little bit more about him here in a minute. Here he's discussing weather modification and various other topics. And let's see if I can get my video to play. For some reason, my video does not want to play. Yeah, it's got a problem. So for some reason, okay, there it is. Okay, for some reason they do not like this video, and they've claimed copyright. Coast to Coast AM has claimed copyright infringement. Now, I do admit I recorded this video from my AM radio, and it is their program. However, I am not using it for profit. It's totally educational, and there are some things here that may be offensive to some people. I understand that, but as far as I can tell, it's all
noted author as well, including NASA politics above science.
It's all the truth.
Marvin, welcome back. Good to have you. Thank you. It's always an honor to be here. What did you think of that story with the utility filing bankruptcy, planning to file bankruptcy to save itself from what they think could be massive dollars of loss?
Okay, so he's talking. George is talking about PG&E and the smart meters. Now, PG&E has blamed the smart meters or something similar. I don't know the details, but they have blamed the fire, like the campfire, and some of these fires in Northern California on this. However, I believe there's another aspect to these fires, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, let's see if I can get this to play.
With these California fires. Well, first of all, there's some reason to think there's culpability on their part. I believe they had previously lied about the safety of gas pipelines, and there's some thought that their equipment started.
Yeah, some thought their equipment started. Now, they actually have what they call solar collectors. So they have solar collectors in the sky to beam down energy. They don't need to run coal power plants. The technology is 40 years ahead of what the public wants to, is able to know about. And this way they can keep control of what's going on. And so, yeah, let's listen.
The fires, and therefore they have an obligation. But of course, they ultimately want us, the California taxpayers, to pay it, right? And so that's the painful part.
And so this is a picture of a car. It looked like it's been in a microwave, basically. Like a metal pan in a microwave, basically. Some of the bushes around this picture are untouched. And this is one of the pictures in one of the main California fires.
Of course, Governor Jerry Brown thinks that it's climate change that caused these fires. Well, Governor Brown is right in one small way, but basically totally wrong. He believes the story that everybody has been told since about 1988, that carbon dioxide is trapping heat that needs to be radiated into space, causing global warming. Well, it used to be...
So this Dr. J. Marvin Herndon, he actually found the link between the coal ash and the geoengineering sprays, and has documented it. Now, so he is very controversial, and so this is him talking about what is going on in many aspects.
The military's contractors have been doing geoengineering.
Okay, yeah, so the geoengineering, I have a local person I've met, he has noticed the geoengineering. This is 2019 right now. He has noticed the geoengineering for probably 15 years. I just started noticing it about 6 years ago. And so I'm pretty much an outside person, and these contrails that linger all day and form into weather events are totally not normal. In fact, from what I understand, the weather is 100% geoengineered as it's manufactured. The weather is manufactured. All weather events are now manufactured. And so this is an issue that some people in power would like to keep that covert control and allow some people to be in the dark about geoengineering and weather modification.
And that has caused the plant material in California to die and to be more combustible.
So here, Dr. Herndon is talking about the aluminum, barium, strontium materials that are commonly used for geoengineering that are actually fire propellants. And so this also may be manipulated by radio frequency to produce firestorms.
And it also makes the possibility of lightning strikes more. And let me explain. Sure. Back in the Vietnam War, the military seeded clouds to make it rain, to make the Ho Chi Minh Trail muddy and block the movement of troops and materiel. Well, that's only the first step of geoengineering. The second step is to put...
Okay, so this reporter guy here, he's at one of the Santa Barbara fires. He's pointing out there's the house next to him is completely burned. Yet here, Dr. Herndon talks about how they're using coal ash, and so coal ash is highly toxic. Not to mention, it is actually the nanoform in what they're using to make these artificial clouds is carcinogenic in the lungs as well. You've heard of coal miner's disease or a black lung disease.
Is using the waste product of coal burning, the material that used to go up the smokestacks, but now in Western countries it's prohibited because it's so toxic. Now they catch it or something. They catch it and they spray it in the air above us, and that's poisoning trees. You'll see on the Coast to Coast website, I posted a yellow rain. Pardon? Is it what they call yellow rain? No, I don't know that it's
called toxic.
You'll see, if you look up in the sky, you'll see these jet laid trails that spread out and for a moment look like white clouds and then eventually become a white haze.
It's called nano dust.
Your folks posted an image for me on your website that shows two dead Torrey pines, rare Torrey pines.
Okay, so and then here he's talking about the trees that are dying. I have a tree. I've made a video about it before. It's a Monterey pine that is basically split in half, and it's so top heavy it's just falling over at this point. So I'm not sure exactly what the problem is, but it's falling. It cracked down the middle, split in the middle, and it's falling over.
With these trails. This has become a near daily occurrence all through California, across the U.S., and in fact around the world. It's It's material that's poisonous to plants, it's poisonous to people, but it allows the military to control the weather, which they want to do. And the toxins get absorbed by the little grace containers.
So he's researched this for several years, I would imagine, probably a good 15 years, at least 10 years. And he's saying, this is a doctor, he's saying that this stuff is highly toxic. And I don't know why anyone would put a copyright claim on my video and say that this, I mean, this is like emergency news information that the public needs to know about.
Makes them more electrically conducting so the military can move cloud formations with its electromagnetic radiation. I mean, this is a horror story. You know, Marvin, we've talked on this program for years about the chemtrails, and of course.
And so, yeah, they can manipulate these sprayed materials with electromagnetic radio waves. So how do they manipulate the materials? Now, if you can think about your cell phone and think about how far ahead things have gotten, like 20 years ago, you would never imagine your cell phone could do almost anything, be connected to the entire world, etc. Now, this kind of science, weather modification or environmental engineering, could be highly profitable to some people. And not that these people in control need money, they need power. They need power over the people, and that's exactly what they're doing with this technology. And they would rather you not know about this. You or your relations not know about this.
Mainstream folks call it a bunch of hooey, but we've had too many eyewitnesses calling the program guests who have said, no, they're spraying us. So you believe that's what's happening too? Well, it's more than just belief. I'm a scientist, and I've investigated the...
So you notice George has used the buzzword chemtrail, so he's calling it chemtrail, which is the common term, but the chemtrail word, of course, is coined as conspiracy theory by the internet and many media programs, because chemtrail is not the proper word. It's actually the twisted word which they've made into a conspiracy theory. The more appropriate term would be weather modification or solar radiation management, marine cloud whitening, albedo enhancement, etc.
Things I've analyzed rainwater, come to understand a great deal about what they're spraying and why they're spraying it. And this is one of the biggest scams of our entire planet and our generation, or maybe.
Okay, so Dr. Herndon now starts to get into the fact. Well, my understanding is that global warming is not happening, and basically the geoengineers are manipulating the weather to produce weather events that will most likely have each and every one of us paying carbon taxes and or at least totally confused about the matter and trying to avoid any action to not be controlled by these powers that be.
In the history of civilization. Here's the way it really looks. Since about 1988, the climate science community has been about suggesting that carbon dioxide.
Okay, here once again, Dr. Herndon talks about the carbon dioxide and related science, and is basically saying that the climate global warming is completely engineered. Now, it's hard for me to decipher the truth, so I'm going to leave that one up to you. And once again, this is a fair use nonprofit educational news video. And the technology for weather modification is so advanced that it's hard to believe. There are some people that believe that they are spraying nanobot tag technology. Basically, the nanobot tags are like the RFID tags And so basically, once you've inhaled these nanobot tags, then basically you can be tracked and monitored. And so you can imagine the controlling technology that could be related to that, if you can imagine, like 40, 50 years ahead of the technology today.
Traps heat that needs to be radiated from space and causes global warming. But the UN is behind this, and I mean, it's a huge industry behind it. So surreptitiously, secretly, it appears that maybe it's the UN people, the high-level climate scientists, I don't know who it is, but
David Keith.
got together with the leaders of various countries, and
this is part 3. And so Dr. Herndon is talking about how the global warming, droughts, etc., down whatever, floods are all engineered. So here he's making that point.
Thing they want to do, which is to weaponize the weather. And then it's ideal for the deep state operatives, because then they can direct how this destructive power is used. And it's being used in California for one thing, because of drought. The moisture in California comes from the Pacific Ocean. But we've had, right along the coast, we've had almost continuous spraying of these.
Okay, the moisture along California comes from the Pacific Ocean, and you can see these are lines. Basically, these are like electromagnetic flex lines. You know how the magnet makes a flex line or aura when you put a magnetic iron filings around the magnet? And you can see this is typical what we see along the coast. And these are electromagnetic particles that are being manipulated by radio waves. Here I say EMF skies off the Pacific. And so basically electromagnetic frequency skies. If you Google cymatics, you will come up with some information about that as well.
Aerial particulates for more than 4 years. At least. At least. And every time the news media announces that in a day or two we expect rain, the spray planes come out in even greater force. Hold on, Marvin. We're at a break. We're going to come back with...
Okay, so yeah, I have noticed every weather event basically is whatever. Before they predict rain, the sprayers will start spraying. This is very common. Okay, so let's skip ahead and see what we can do here. Okay, so back with the interview. I'm sorry about the audio quality. And so let's try and listen the best we can.
Herndon with us. We'll take calls with him next hour. Marvin, you call this the deep state perfect storm. Explain that, and I think you're probably right on. Well, this is the story. First, it began with the scientific community, the geoscience community, promoting without good proof, without good evidence, the idea that global warming is occurring because of the carbon dioxide produced from burning fossil fuel.
Okay, so here Dr. Herndon, with his evidence, he's proving that the particulates in the air are related to the temperature of the Earth. So they are controlling the temperature of the Earth by the particulate material being sprayed. They're also manipulating the ozone layer. And so by manipulating the ozone layer, it's destroying it. And as they destroy it, they will have to control it more and more, unfortunately. This is the current science.
Well, this was taken over by the...
You'll be getting a tax bill for this one, guys.
If they can control our economy, control the burning of fossil fuels, tax...
Okay, so yeah, here he goes into the rant. It's all about control. It's covert power and control. As Dane Wigington would say, it's all about power and control.
It's called control. It's all about control.
They have a way to redistribute money. It's also a lot of people can be making money along the way. Well, then along came the idea of doing something to prevent or to counteract the global warming. That's the aerial spraying, the chemtrails. And by 2010, it became literally a near daily activity. And this could only be done through the military. But no one has the authority to do that. This is all a secret operation, based with a lot of disinformation, professional disinformation, and deceiving people as to the health risks. And so you have the military being able to literally control the weather.
Okay, so one of the reasons why they don't openly admit this is they do not want to take the responsibility, the liability for people's health. So spraying nanoparticulates of aluminum, barium, strontium, coal ash, chalk, etc. has a huge liability. And apparently the liability and the feasibility of pulling the wool over the eyes on the general public about geoengineering outweighs any factors as far as the people being able to stand up for their constitutional rights.
To cause storms or floods or droughts, as it's happened in California, desiccating our planet, making this area of our planet, making it prone to exacerbated forest fires. Who tells who what havoc to cause? This is all a secret operation.
And who made them God all of a sudden?
Exactly. They are playing God with the planet, and so this is.
Okay, so yes, they are indeed. They're playing God in trying to control everything with the Monsanto geoengineered whatever seeds. Can you imagine that? You can spray as much poison on a seed and it will still survive and look green or whatever, look edible, but is like highly toxic to eat. And that's what they've done. They're trying to control everything. Nothing is natural anymore.
What's wrong? Now, here's the interesting part, George. There are many scientists who disagree with the idea of carbon dioxide causing global warming, but until just recently, nobody's been able to prove it or find out what the real story is. And this is what I've done in the last couple of months. And it's an interesting story how this happened.
So Dr. Herndon has figured out that the particulate, once again, the particulate matter in the air controls the global warming. And so this is what all the spraying is about. This is why they tell you this is a contrail and not a geoengineering spray.
A conspiracy reality.
On January the 19th, the New York Times had a front-page picture, a graph of the thermal profile of the Earth's surface over time. And there was a bump at World War II. And so a Harvard physicist by the name of Bernard Gottschalk got 8 databases from NOAA and used sophisticated earth-fitting techniques and showed that that's a common element.
Okay, so this Gottschalk guy got 8 databases from NOAA and showed that the particulate matter is related to the global warming. And so basically, someone... Okay, part 3. Nonprofit news educational video. So they have the evidence now proving that global warming is man-made by geoengineering, through geoengineering.
Of all 8 databases, for land and for water, and that's a robust feature. And what he concluded is that global warming peak is a consequence of human activity during World War II. Well, when I saw his work, I was inspired by it because here's the reason. All of the munitions, the amount of factory operations, the running the factories 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all of those things, the explosions in the air, could produce two things that could alter the balance between the Earth and the Sun. One of them is carbon dioxide, but the other are particulate particles, little fine particles that get into the atmosphere. And
Okay, so basically, once again, they've proven that the sprayed particulates control global warming. And if you notice in this picture here was taken in Northern California. Now, all these, the whole sky is filled with these particulates. These are nanoparticulates that are basically sprayed dust clouds. And we see one jet here. This is all sprayed dust clouds. It's 100% artificial cloud or dust in the air.
What I did, and this is published now, I took his plot. This is, by the way, this is the second of the figures that your folks have posted on your website. I took his figure and I plotted three, you could call them proxies for pollution, things that cause pollution, like crude oil production.
And nobody wants pollution, Marvin, right?
No, nobody wants it. But here's the thing, look. The real secret is you look at that peak, and it drops off right after World War II. Now, carbon dioxide stays in the atmosphere for decades or even hundreds of years. So that couldn't...
Okay, so basically, from what I understand, he's saying that some of the climate change has dropped off after World War II. After they've stopped, burning, making bombs in the air and producing just crazy activity that's producing this dust in the air. And so let's listen in.
What caused the peak? The particulates, they fall out of the atmosphere in a matter of days or maybe weeks. And so that's what's happened. This is the evidence that, number one, the whole climate science community has been wrong. And number two, that the real enemy that we have is pollution, particulate pollution. You've got India pouring out their exhaust from their coal-burning furnaces right into the air. You've got China doing this.
Okay, so here Dr. Herndon says that basically he has proof that it's all related to the particulates in the air. The particulates that grab the moisture, and the particulates that are being sprayed in our air almost daily.
Same thing. And you also have lots of exhaust coming from for example, the great amount of aircraft that we're flying, things like that. So this is the real enemy, is particulate pollution. It's not carbon dioxide.
Now, did they expect these California fires when they did all this, or did they even care?
Well, they didn't care. The one thing about the military is when they have a mission, or believe they have a mission, nothing stands in the way. There was a time during the 50s, 60s, and into the early 70s when nuclear warfare was their mission. And they did horrible things. They gave pregnant women radioactive iron.
Yeah, so they tried to manipulate the the outer atmosphere, the ionosphere, with nuclear bombs. They tried to control it. What he's talking about, they injected pregnant women with nuclear waste, basically, for experimenting on them. So, if you don't believe your government will do such a thing, they have a history of doing this. And he's talking about the proof.
Told them it was vitamins. They injected newborn babies, some as young as a week old, with radioactive iodine.
What, to experiment on them?
To experiment on them, yes. They also fed radioactive fallout to people. They did experiments where they put radioactive sources in schoolrooms. I mean, this is documented.
Okay, so once again here he proves that the government is not, not out to 100% look out for you, and the experiments, the horrendous experiments, the Auschwitz of America, the Holocaust. This is what I call the Holocaust of America. The modern American Holocaust.
This is not lunacy or...
Well, I also know that they tested chemicals and sprayed them over people in St. Louis. They tested sailors in a Navy ship.
Yes.
They sprayed them. I mean, horrendous stuff.
They conducted war games with the military right under the mushroom cloud. There's a book called Behind the Fog by Lisa Martino Taylor that I would recommend.
Okay, book Behind the Fog by Marisa Taylor. And so, this, I haven't read the book, but the book is called Behind the Fog, and you can read about some of the experiments the government has done. Now, this is a picture along the coast of Northern California. You can see the spray lines or the electromagnetic flux lines of the magnetic materials manipulated by radio waves. And you can see we have one big tower right there and another tower here. And so it's all being manipulated by radio frequency.
I have no connection whatsoever with the lady, but she did a very thorough job of documenting some of these atrocities. So you can really understand from this that the military has absolutely no concern for human or environmental well-being. And I will...
Yeah, it's kind of a facade. The only protection you have is your ability to control your thoughts, basically. And so almost everything else is covertly controlled by someone else. So think about that.
Tell you there's a lot of evidence that what they're spraying is harmful for humans and for birds and for insects and for forests. It's literally insects and for forests. It's literally destroying life on Earth.
You know, Marvin, you are one of the first scientists to admit that there's chemtrails.
Well, this...
Okay, so George says that he uses the buzzword chemtrail. Well, I don't know why he's bringing this up, but chemtrail is not a technical term. It is basically the term that those in power would rather have you think it's all a hoax. And if you Google chemtrails, you'll find conspiracy theory related to that. And so, I don't know why you're using that term.
Science community, I tell you, I'm really ashamed of scientists. Real science is about telling the truth. It's about learning the true nature of Earth and universe and sharing that with people. But what's happened is for about 60 years, the scientific community has been corrupted. Because when the government first started funding civilian science in 1951, they wrote the rules. And the rules...
Okay, so basically, he's saying that the government is pulling all the strings behind the scenes.
Were that scientists would write proposals for funding, say what they were going to do, and those proposals would be reviewed by their competitors. So you think about it. You criticize a scientist, and he's going to get back at you. And it doesn't take a very smart scientist to figure out, hey, if you want to have a career in science, you don't challenge what the government does or what other scientists say.
No grant money.
No grant money, no promotions, no existence. Well, I was excommunicated in about 1980.
And so for those who like to criticize my videos, I challenge you to make a better video. Make your counterpoint rather than use some criticizing words. Please make a counterpoint video with your view, and you can post a link below. Thank you.
Published a paper in the Proceedings of the Royal Society of London showing why the inner core of the Earth is not what people have thought for 40 years. And at the time I thought, well, gee, there'll be debate and discussion, and probably the people with well-funded labs will take the idea and run with it. It didn't happen.
Okay, so this is our local fire department and police department. And I have given them letters with my name, information. They're not interested in talking about it. And so Here, once again, we see the lines in the background. These are all 100% artificial dust clouds.
I got a tremendously complimentary letter from the lady who had discovered the inner core of the Earth, but everybody else was silent. And then when my grants came up for renewal, they weren't renewed for no good reason.
See now, do you regret saying the things you've said?
No, they set me free, because if I had capitulated and not made discoveries and just, I'd be like everybody else. I'd be chanting the...
Okay, bravo, Dr. Herndon. Thank you for not being like everybody else.
Same chant, doing the same dance, not criticizing. And science is, listen, it's all about finding out what is wrong with present understanding and correcting it.
I gotta tell you.
Okay, you can see here in this picture, this is the this is the remnant of a chemtrail right along the flagpole, right there. We can also see the reflection. You can see the halo reflection of the magnetic materials glowing in the sun. Once again, these are magnetic materials being manipulated by radio frequency.
Running this Pacific utility company that's filing bankruptcy because of the fire claims, I would hire you as a consultant and bring you into court with me to tell this story.
Well, incidentally, I'm right now a part of a Canadian lawsuit. I was brought on board. They're suing the Queen. And in Canada, you don't sue the Canadian government, you sue the Queen. In England. And they are suing about the...
Okay, maybe they pulled my original video off because of this lawsuit. As you know, when you go into litigation or you go into a lawsuit, then certain information can't be discussed. So maybe this is why they pulled it off originally and made me redo it.
Spraying, and I was brought on board as an expert witness, and the opposition challenged and said I couldn't be an expert witness because they had failed to fill out...
You're too much of an expert.
Well, the excuse was I had failed to fill out one little form that was required. And so right now, my existence in this lawsuit is before the second highest court in Canada. And this is hopefully the lawyers will...
Almost like our Court of Appeals.
It is.
Okay, so this is the second highest court in Canada, this lawsuit that he's involved with. And so this actually proves that there is some validity to what he's talking about as far as the geoengineering, etc. And so, yeah, there's a lot of validity, credibility here, guys. And this is all educational, non-profit news. I'm not making a penny off this video. And I don't intend to. None of these videos are monetized, so I'm not making any money on these. Just so you know.
It is very much the Court of Appeals, and it's operated by 3 very senior justices.
They're all paid off.
Higher, which is the Supreme Court in Canada.
Well,
So this will be interesting because now these people are being exposed due to my deposition to a lot of the information that I'm talking about here, except the most recent stuff. And my guess is the Canadian lawyers will petition to have that included as well. But this is the thing that people have to do, and the science community, the geoscience community, has failed us, and they.
Okay, so here he's talking about how basically the geoscientists have failed us. They have been all paid off and are, well, I would say most of them anyway. And we have the main media owned by probably, only 3 people, maybe 5 people. They control all the media that we receive. And so that's the way I see it.
They do not acknowledge that the spraying takes place. Now, these people are making models. They like to make models, which aren't real science. But to be even useful, a model has to include all of the things. To be even useful, a model has to include all of the things that affect the result. But yet, no one will mention what's going on in the universe. It's like.
Okay, so here Dr. Herndon talks about the models, the scientific models. None of the modeling, none of the studies mention the geoengineering activities, the sprays that are sprayed almost every day. The barium, aluminum, strontium, shock, coal ash, etc. The radio frequency manipulation. None of the scientific models are mentioning this. And this is what Dr. Herndon is saying.
Like the mafia, a code of silence, only it's much bigger and broader and detrimental. What's so upsetting too, Marvin, is I'm sure that they were all well-intentioned when they got their degrees in their particular field. But then as they got into industry and government, they got tainted and changed. And more importantly, into universities. And most of the research that's done, the climate research.
Okay, so he's talking about the universities, although I was surprised to see that Harvard had a university study related to lowering of IQ and the fluoride in the water. The fluoride normally put in the tap water. But yeah, so most of the universities are propaganda driven. They teach people how to be sheeple.
The politically correct mentality of universities into science, which is non-science. Do you think they actually do not know about chemtrails, or they know about it and they just change their face a little? Well, I think that there are some who certainly know about it, but that are afraid to say anything. And then there are others who are naive. But what I do know is there is a concerted effort to deceive people. There are professional disinformation agents. And why is that? Why don't they simply say, we control the weather, or we're trying to, and, we think this kind of research will help us minimize hurricanes and things like that. Why don't they just come out and tell us what they're doing?
Why don't they, George? It's because they don't want to accept the liability of the health impacts, the environmental impacts of spraying nanodust in our air. That's why. That's why they don't admit it, George. Think about it.